Welcome to my Napcast,
Hey, thanks.
where we talk about sleep and aging.
I'm a pro at that.
Uh,
Both of those things, actually.
we got a couple just here, a couple baldies with our hats and our beards.
Mm-hmm.
Cheers. We're like the same person. I just need glasses.
Yep, exactly.
This is actually kind of frightening now. We look at this. We're like
Oh
my
no,
God.
I didn't like that.
Oh my God.
No,
Okay.
I do. I like. I Uber, and like on occasion, people are like, "Hey, have you had me before?" I'm like, honestly, man, I look like 90% of Pittsburgh men. Like just tattoos, beard, bald. That's about it. Mhm.
Yeah. So Nate Hall's in the building. Make some
Hello.
noise. Hello. Yay.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming over. This is one of those interesting situations because you've been on the show before.
Twice. I had thought about that.
We have and on top of that, we have been in the same room with each other countless times.
Mhm. Even during COVID.
Yeah.
No.
God bless. But this is the first time that we're kind of like, it's just me and you.
Mm-hmm. Man to man.
Yes. Here we are.
Mm-hmm.
So, for anybody that doesn't know you, I barely know you outside of just the fact that you play a bunch of instruments
I'm around.
and you drive Uber and you're into exercise now
I guess.
and probably weed and stuff.
That's true too. Yeah. Mhm.
So-
You nailed it.
So what am I missing? What are the missing pieces here? What do I not know? What does the normal person not know about Nate Hall?
That covered it all. I've been baking a lot. That's been a nice thing lately as far as
We already talked about the weed.
Yeah. Oh, oh, damn.
Yeah, I know.
No, but actually, it's
Real
funny
zingers on this one.
funny you say that because I do like to make cookies. I've been making a lot of cookies lately. And every time I make them for people, they're like, now, are these special cookies? And every time they do, I'm like, yeah, I made them. And like, well, no, do they have anything in them? Like, well, a lot of respect, a lot of time, a lot of passion. I don't know what you're getting at, but yeah, they do have a reason to ask about that.
So, speaking of the baking, and just being a genuinely kind of a creative person, I get this vibe from you that, you're somebody that was been playing music for probably a large majority of your life and doing creative things. But how much do you how serious do you engage with art? I know it's a weird question, but you seem like a very passive person, and I mean that in a kind way.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? Just
yeah.
Don't let shit get to me. Just kind of chilling. Art is art. Things are whatever.
Yeah.
It's whatever, man. I get that vibe from you. I've always gotten that vibe from you.
I think on a personal level, the way I've been putting it lately when it comes to at least my interaction with music, I feel I went to college for music. I was a voice major in college, classical voice and stuff like that. Played trombone, auditioned with that. But I feel music has become a logic puzzle to me because I don't know. I also play bass in the emo band, the karaoke band thing. And after having to learn all those songs, it's kind of a situation where all of them are the same. All of the interactions between the chords and the distances between things, it's all the same stuff. And so with that kind of mindset, when it comes to making music, it's kind of fun to be okay, I heard a bunch of songs do this little feature, so I'm going to add that into this one, or this chord progression's nice, do that. But I don't know, I feel you can always make something out of the things that you've seen other people do a lot, and that's kind of what's fun about making that kind of art.
Totally.
Imho.
Yeah, so it's probably similar in some ways to baking and
That's right.
learning recipes and
Little
fucking around
techniques.
with different things. How do you make
Browning
it your own?
butter. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Secrets.
Yeah. With the music that you play, you mentioned doing the emo band stuff, and then you also play drums for Northern Gold.
Yes.
Are you doing any other music right now? Is that it?
That's really it. Honestly, I try to keep myself in my personal life down to 3 obligations, and I think trying to work and then 2 bands, that's 3, that's enough for me.
So, as you've gotten older then, what has your relationship been with maybe music that you enjoyed when you were younger as now you're an adult? 'Cause, Northern Gold's a good adult band to be in, but you have a very much yin and yang situation because of the emo band thing, which is a relatively adolescent thing. But like, you know, do you still enjoy that kind of music? I guess you're like contractually obligated to say.
I love every bit of it. Emo all the way.
Yeah. I mean, were you even ever like really interested or a part of that scene? Or it was just by proxy? It just kind of happened.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you say that because I think like the whole concept of these people calling themselves elder emos, but then talking about being like huge My Chemical Romance fans kind of burns me a bit because like I remember like, am I like an ancient emo or something? Because like I like Sunny Day Real Estate and like I liked Old Cursive and I liked like old Get Up Kids and like Old Saves the Day and all this stuff. I'm like, that was before like My Chemical Romance. So if these people were like elder emos, then what am I, you know?
Sure.
But
it's interesting the way that genres of music kind of get branded and how bands get lumped into different things. It's like, maybe like I guess it happened with punk. It's happened with metal, where what the subculture is different than what the music is.
Yeah,
hardcore. This happened with too, where it's like this is like My Chemical Romance is a socially emo band, but musically they're not really an emo band. They're just a pop punk band.
Yeah, and they're fine. You know, like I said, I love them. They're my favorite band. Great songs.
I'm like curious, do you think that in regards to like some like a conversation that nobody ever needs to have that we're going to have now where we you know, compare My Chemical Romance to Cursive in terms of just like songwriting. Do you think if Cursive looked like My Chemical Romance, they would have been as big? How much do you think the look plays into things?
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think they would have. They got that one guy that's just kind of overweight and bald, and like Tim Casher's not really that attractive of a man. You're very right on that one. Yeah, they wouldn't have done as well, I don't think.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of like the ugliest bands I know that have been popular. I would say Men at Work. Colin Hay, that dude that was the singer for them, he's got that real weird eye. Like he shouldn't have been famous, but that was the time he could get away with that stuff.
Oh yeah, totally. Like. I mean, music videos were a relatively new thing at that point in time, and I don't think people had really gotten quite used to what other people look like yet. Plus, we didn't have like HD TV or anything like that.
The
so
pixels were more forgiving.
Yeah. Definitely a more forgiving time to do anything. Leading into like another interesting side of this, like being a musician in the scenes and bands for you know, probably, you know, easily 2/3 of your life now at this point. So much has changed in terms of like that kind of shit, like like everything needs to sound better and look better now, and I don't know if it was really ever not like that, but I feel like the weight of it is so much heavier now. I feel like a lot of younger bands coming up, like the writing the song seems like it's not nearly as important as making sure that whatever is recorded sounds the way that it's supposed to sound, and the videos look the way that they're supposed to look, and there's like all of these obligations that are put on us as like musicians trying to be in a successful band. Like
gotta create content.
Yeah. And it's weird that like we're doing that. I don't know. I
Kicking
think
and
that,
screaming, but yeah,
it's like weird for like DIY or underground bands to like try to do all of the shit that like a big signed band is doing, and then they wonder why they're miserable. Yeah, you know, like all of this, like, oh, we got to film the fucking behind the scenes studio videos, and we got to film 3 fucking
like, why are you wearing shorts? We told you not to wear shorts. This is TikTok day.
Sure. And it's like, I mean, I don't know. I guess at some point you want to take yourself seriously and be presented as a serious band. But it's a lot to handle. It's a lot of weight to carry as a band.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you say it that way, and I don't know if I'm trying to make this about myself in some way, but even right now, currently, Northern Gold's working on booking like a show later on. Like, we want to do a good show, like not like one that we're added on to, but one that like we care about, one that we put our time into, one that we like know that if it doesn't succeed, it'll be our fault, like that kind of thing. Yeah. And like you said before, like Northern Gold's definitely like more of an adult vibe and everything. So I think that we have to capitalize on that by doing it ourselves. Like, we can't hope like a local promoter is going to throw us on as an opening act for something that like we would fit into, which is excellent and always a nice thing if that happens or the opportunity is there. But yeah, I feel like we just need to get like a fire hall and vibe the place out and get 2 other bands that we like and find a way to get a keg there and then do it like that. Because I think other than having like, oh yeah, you know, this local opener brought a bunch of people to this like bigger show with a headliner that doesn't give a shit about them, it'd be more of like, hey, that was a cool fucking thing to do. That was a nice vibe to that fire hall that they happened to rent out. Like, who threw that show? Oh, the band? Like, that's great. Like, I feel like there needs to be more of that, you know, doing it yourself kind of thing that needs to come back that I haven't been doing as much. But I don't know. I feel like that's missing because people do want to have that like polished look to things or like have a path that they go down to reach that I don't think exists.
Yeah, I think that, you know, those paths that people take, it's like, everybody just like tries to follow this blueprint that is like, I don't know. I'm starting to feel like it's just very, very outdated. And so many people, band wise, get caught up in this cycle of like trying to impress everybody but the people that are like closest to them. Mm-hmm. If that makes sense, where it's like,
because they're obligated to
I just want to like, we need to make a fucking TikTok account so we can, you know, get fans that aren't going to really give a fuck about us in places of the world that we're probably never going to go to because we're, you know, all pushing 40 and we're probably not touring.
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
So I love the idea of just like, okay, scale it back and like do the fire hall show, even if it's like the one fucking show that we play for the next 6 months. I'd rather play one good show every 6 months than a shitty show every month.
Yeah, those shitty shows just take it out of you. Like, it is no fun to have to like, especially when you're like at our age, it's like, I could have done anything else. Like, I could have sat at home, could have watched some Netflix, could have like...
Yeah. And like, what are you like, I don't know, I've talked about this a lot, probably at nauseum on this podcast, but like, it's like really just something to consider. Just like, why are we playing the show? It's like, oh, well, it'll be cool to see everybody. We could see everybody without like, needing to drag gear across
we could go
town.
To Kennywood, yeah.
Yeah, like, you know, I don't have to fucking rent out a venue to hang out with my friends. We have houses. We have Kennywood, shit like that, you know? And I don't know.
That is a good point with the like to know what you want out of something, because it isn't the same. It isn't just like do stuff and then something happens. Like, you do stuff with a purpose. Like, that's what I think needs to be embraced by people more so whenever they're like working at things like this, you know.
And that goes back to like the music video shit, right? Like, music video stuff really, okay, it's an advertisement for your band to maybe like, oh, attach it to a press kit to get some fucking shows or to get a label or things like that. But if like you're not really planning on touring or you're not really planning on trying to shop your band around, or you're just doing this for fun, what's the point of the video?
Yeah.
Ego? Okay, that's fine if that's what you want to do. Just
you want to see yourself move on a little screen? Like, okay. Yeah.
just be honest with yourselves about like what is the goal.
Yeah. That is so true. Like the honesty thing, like I'd have asked like other bands I've been in, like, what do we want? And like, I don't want some lofty answer. Like, that's, I mean, yeah, you could like, I want to be the best band in the world. Like, okay, yeah, we all do. But like, no, like, what do you want that you can achieve? And like, I know I'm guilty of not like doing this stuff that I've like talking about, but like, okay, like you want to get shirts. Let's get shirts. How are we going to sell those shirts? Okay, we should do a show next. Like, oh, okay, the dominoes are falling down. Like, it all makes sense at this point. Like, but you can't just be like, I want a cool shirt with a neat design, then do nothing with it. Like, no, that's not worth it.
Yeah, totally. It's like, you know, there's like always the, I get constant messages, not constant, but
like,
enough.
All the time.
I mean,
5 just came
regularly. I get messages from people like, how can I get my stuff pressed on vinyl? Do you have suggestions for all this stuff?
Yeah.
And it's just like, well, I mean, if you have money, you could do anything, but really, like, how many shows are you going to be playing?
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
how are you going to sell that product?
Sure. It's like, you know, it's like, yeah, you know, we only want to get, you know, maybe a couple hundred of these things made. And I'm like, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. You know, I fucking have an old pressing of They're Only Chasing Safety, Under Oath, emo shit. And when they put that, it was like from whatever fucking label put that out originally. I don't remember, Tooth and Nail or something adjacent. Yeah. And it was first pressing gold vinyl 100 copies. That's all the label put out for an Under Oath record.
Yep.
And you're telling me you want 200 copies of your fucking ding dong band from McKeesport?
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, I mean, you could do it, but like, you're just going to be sitting on them. But if you are going to be playing a lot of shows, you will move them eventually. Like you sell maybe 1 or 2 a show if you're lucky, maybe 3 or 4 if it's wild. And like, okay, we'll divide that up by shows. Like, how long is it going to take you to sell those? Oh, maybe 50 shows. How long does it take most local bands to play 50 shows? 5 years?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know, so it's like,
it's funny about the stacks of like product and everything like that. Like my dad is a musician, and he's been playing Christian music my whole life and everything. But like when I was younger, he'd always joke he had this like stack of CDs against the wall. He's like, "You get to have all those later." I'm like, "Okay, what do you mean by that?" Like, "Those are yours. Like, I can't sell them. No one's gonna buy those." I'm like, "Oh crap!" Like you're right. Like there's just 1,000 CDs that like no one's gonna buy. Is like, I mean, at the time he was playing and stuff, it had like an outlet for him, but like, got an awful lot left.
I still have fucking like merch from bands that I was in like 15 years ago in the basement.
A bag of shirts and CDs and stuff.
Yeah,
like, okay,
totally.
Neat.
Totally. Yeah. I think that over time, like now, I'm pretty good about thinking about why we're getting things made. It's like, those shirts that I still have in the basement are fucking ugly. That's why nobody bought them.
Yep.
So now it's like, okay, is this a design that somebody's going to want? And like, there's always that conversation, like somebody in the band doesn't like it. It's like, yeah, okay, maybe the shirt's kind of corny, especially being in a metal band, you deal with a lot of corny merchandise. Yeah. And it's just like, but people will fucking buy it.
Yep.
That's the thing. Well, why are we doing this? Yeah. To sell them to people to make money. We can double or triple, sometimes quadruple your money on a fucking shirt, like per unit. Like you pay $5 a shirt, you sell it for 20, you make $15. It's business, baby.
Oh yeah, no, I feel like that with the emo band.
Let's just fucking sell the shirts.
Yeah, with the emo band, I feel like in our song choices and things like that, like we have had to just take a step back and be like, we don't like this. This song is not fun to play. Like, but like people love it. Like when we play this song, people go crazy. Like we got to put ourselves aside and be like, okay, like yeah, we did want to play the old school cool stuff, but that doesn't sell. Like that doesn't make people show up at our shows. I'm like, okay, so it looks like we got to learn the stuff that we hate. And like, it's not bad. Like at the end of the day, you're not like, who's that big of an artist to care about that stuff? Well, sure. Like no one's profound that much.
I get the same shit like when I'm doing DJ nights and somebody wants to hear
those
a song.
Those are going great, by the way. I just want to say the Taylor Swift ones.
Yeah, it's cool.
Fantastic.
Having a fun time. But yeah, I mean, there's stuff that people want to hear, and I'm just like, cool. Well, like this is why you're here, for me to play what you want to hear. This isn't like I'm not fucking Steve Aoki. Like, oh, this is my set, and like, fuck you,
eat cake.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just the things like people are coming out just to stuff like the fucking emo karaoke. They want. That's why they're there. You know.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, you kind of just have to I don't know, entertain.
That's right. Dance, monkey.
Exactly. With the chemistry that, you have now between like all of the people that are in the emo band, I imagine it's like a really interesting thing because like you're happy to play music, but obviously this is a thing where okay, we're making money. We're getting paid. This is a business, right? Yeah. It's a job. So there's this dynamic of just kind of like, okay, well, I'm here, I'm working, not getting super passionate about this, playing songs that I don't really like, but you're there for the people.
Don't say it like that.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Playing
My Chemical Romance is your favorite band.
Yeah.
But the thing though, I imagine that's interesting. I'm like, okay, I'm actually just going to keep on talking in circles until I ask you this fucking question. Jesus goddamn Christ.
Great dance.
The people that come up and sing.
Yes.
A lot of them are people that may have never been on a stage before, especially like in like a concert hall. Cause a lot of the places that you do these shows are like, they're bigger rooms, right? So like you're dealing with people that maybe don't know how to like hold a microphone right, or like weird stage presence, or like maybe sometimes people don't really know the song all that well.
Yeah.
Like for the most part, when I've been to emo night karaoke, it seems like there's like people know the songs, so it's pretty good for the most part.
Yeah.
But like, what do you do in like a train wreck situation, if there ever is one?
I mean, I think
like, how do you handle that?
We jump in as much as possible. I mean, I know Matt Fuchs, the other guitar player, he'll hop on the mic and like at least keep people on time. But we did, I don't know what show it was, but we did have one recently where like It got bad. And like we have been doing it long enough now that like we can recover and everything, but man, like Corey can really give a mean look when we mess up bad. So I mean it's kind of funny. But I don't know. Like you're right. We do get all types. It is nice when people are able to keep on with everything. Well, we've not to, show too much of behind the curtain. But we're operating with in-ear monitors now. So like we also have a click for us and everything, and we can kind of separate out the other singers and everything. And also it helps with the stage volume too, because then we can put more of them in the monitors to be able to hear instead of having us blasting behind them.
Yeah.
So then it also makes carrying things a whole lot easier. But yeah, some people kill it. And they're amazing, and it's a great time, and we can vibe out with them on the stage. I sound like a real cool kid when I said vibe out. And that's great. But yeah, there definitely are people. I remember one of my favorites that happened. It was pretty early on when we had been doing it. We were in Cleveland, and this girl got up, and she had like a headphone in, and then she like pulled her phone up, and like we're like tuning, trying to get ready and all that. And then she just grabs the mic and starts to sing, and we just stopped and like walked over and just like stared at her, like just for fun, because we're like people were watching, and it's kind of silly. So we just stared at her like, ma'am, we'll play too. You know that, right? She was like, well, I didn't know. I just have the song in my ear and I was going to read the lyrics off here. I'm like, no, like we got a whole operation. Like the lyrics are on that screen, and we'll start it up and then you'll be good. She's like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, wow. Like it was kind of cute for the fact that like she definitely had never done something like that. And she just thought that that's what it should be. She would just like play the song so she knew how it would be. But it wouldn't have worked out in her favor because we play things like tune down a half step and all that. But yeah, I don't know. We see all types.
That's so funny. Now, on the flip, so I'm not personally a fan of doing karaoke.
Mm-hmm.
I like the idea of karaoke, but I have a big pet peeve when anybody that is in a band, especially somebody that's a front person in a band, does karaoke. It's like, this isn't for you. Get off the fucking stage, you fucking egomaniac.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm overanalyzing it. And don't get me wrong, I can do a mean rock lobster if I want to.
Mm-hmm.
But like, do you ever get like, I'm sure you do, like these people that are obviously singers in fucking bands that come to these shows and they're just like flexing super hard and just like really like dick swinging on stage. It's just like, come on, bro.
Well, like there are definitely those ones where like they are trying to just be the only guy there, and those are the ones that end up trying to like jump off of Corey's drums and stuff like that.
God,
and like those ones suck. Like they're no fun. I like the guys that are more like that want to like engage with us too, because we're a pretty engaging band to play with on stage. Yeah. I mean, they're not like our singers or anything, but I had some point to bring up about something, but I forget what it was now. Nope, it's gone.
Okay. Yeah, it's just always been, I don't know, that stuff always bugs me, and I don't know why. I just...
No, I get it. Yeah. And whenever we play Nashville, that is a place where you get to see some crazy good singers.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm sure there's everybody's talented.
Good.
Yeah.
But I think that what Nashville does for the people that come to our event is like out there, if you're a good singer and you're trying to make it in the music industry, like you're going to be out doing cool stuff. But I think there's a faction of people that are like, I'm the best singer in my high school. I got to move to Nashville and make it. And then they realize they can't make it. But yeah, they are a pretty good singer and they need like some place to go to. They're just not quite to the level. And like we show up and it's like, oh, hell yeah. It's their time to flex, like hold out those notes that they've always wanted to on stage. And I don't know. I feel like it's good for scratching that itch for some people.
Yeah. Kind of leading into that, like a Nashville or any other cesspool of creative desperation,
Yeah.
I've like really just like, I just don't like give a fuck about talent anymore in a weird way. It's just like, I feel like personality is so much more important. Like you can be like half decent at what you do, but if you're nice and have heart, you'll probably get better over time. And just like, don't be like, I don't know, either just don't be boring or don't be a turd or whatever. It's like sometimes
being a boring turd. Speaking of that, I was going to say that we did do a pretty big show in Nashville that was like up and coming performers and stuff that are like doing good things. And I'm so out of the loop. I didn't know who anybody was. And like after it was over, I'm finding out like some of these people that like I got to like back up are like real big up and comers, and like I like the ones that were super duper nice. Like those are the ones that I'm like, hey, you guys are like pretty cool. Like great job singing. I'm really proud of you guys, you young folks. And like there were some that were kind of, well, no, there weren't anybody that was a jerk actually. I'm trying to set the story up to make it sound better. Like I don't know. It was just nice that the young people that were in these like up and coming like projects and everything, they all seem pretty cool. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I just had like a good experience with everybody, but yeah, it was nice.
I think that if there is any, I mean, there's a lot of positive things about social media and the way modern music is marketed, right? But maybe one of the best things about it is it's really installing into people at a young age that like personality is really important because that's all the internet fucking is.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe sometimes to a fault
And they can all
because it
dance,
can
too.
be, oh yeah, they can all dance. It could be too much personality. And again, not enough focus on like the actual songwriting, you know, because that's the other thing too, is like, sure, maybe you can sing your ass off or play piano or anything like that. But like writing a song and like doing something well is like, they're two different things.
One of something that bugs me about all those things on the internet like that, how do you feel about the extreme mugging that happens in like any videos I see of somebody like playing guitar or like anything like that, like just the looking up at the camera all the time and like the smirks and the little faces and stuff. I hate it. Like, I'm all about like not tooting my own horn as somebody that performs or whatever, but like if I look stupid, I'm not trying to look stupid. It's just how it comes out. Yeah, exactly. But like these people, I don't know, you can tell when someone's just feeling it. These people aren't feeling it. Like they're just like making these crazy faces. And yeah, it's virtuosic as all get out. Like, great job, dude. That was fast. But you don't have to like make like, I heard somebody call them the fuck me eyes. Like no making fuck me eyes at the camera. Like no big weird smirks after you pull something off.
Yeah,
like,
so like I've been thinking about this a lot, and it's like, you know, it's an issue that I've had when like filming videos for people, which is like something that I've done before. I did a video
with
for
me.
You guys.
I almost died that day, remember?
Yeah, you fell. I remember right over there, right? Yeah.
I just crumpled a little Nate ball instead of hurting, like flailing and landing on the drum set.
Yeah, I know. It was good. He lives to tell the tale.
That's right.
So whenever I think in a good music video, the only person that should be making any sort of eye contact with the camera is the person singing the song. But even too much of that can be weird. It has to be very, very sparse.
Yeah.
But it's funny because in a lot of videos that I've done, the vocalists always are super uncomfortable about making eye contact with the camera, but other people in the band aren't. You know?
Yeah, that's weird.
And it's just like, I don't know. It's just like eye contact like bothers me a lot. Yeah, in music videos, in porn as well. I don't like when people look like
Don't
this
look
is
at
like
me.
this is a very specific thing. I mean, if it's like a POV shot porn, then the eye contact makes sense because you're
Exactly.
this is like a simulation of sorts.
Preaching to the choir, dude. I know.
Yeah. But like there's this thing now that I notice a lot. If there's like I guess, a lot of this homemade DIY sort of like, OnlyFans-esque era of porn where you have like, content.
The golden years.
Yeah, content creators making their making their own film. There'll just be like, like some people doing their thing and like they're just like you could tell they're looking at the screen.
Yeah.
Instead of just like looking at each other and like, I don't know, maybe I'm like romanticizing some weird thing, but it's like I don't like want to watch somebody getting fucked looking at a screen of themselves. It's like just be in the moment with that person so I can believe that this is like a real thing.
I know that look too, because like I hate whenever I'm making like a video of myself playing guitar or masturbating on camera. But like just like looking down, you see like your eyes do that thing where you go back and forth between like the actual thing to look at. But off the porn. No, I was thinking about like I wonder what psychologically that's going to do to all like the kids that are okay with looking into a camera like that. Because I remember when I was younger, like that was just a weird thing to do. Like I know that if you got into some kind of like industry or whatever where you did know to do that, like yeah, that's that. But like everybody is so comfortable with just staring right into a camera lens lately, and it grosses me out.
Yeah, it's a little weird. It goes back to that like, why are we doing this thing that's happening? Like. Yeah, I don't know. I'm definitely not any sort of like brain doctor, psychologist type person, believe it or not. I was laughing, a buddy of mine, Dylan, who plays in that String Machine band. You might know. Do you know Dylan?
I know the band name sounds familiar.
He posted on Facebook recently just a status like I'm gonna have to like paraphrase this, but it was about people going to concerts, and he was like, it's like, I was like, I'm watching this video that somebody posted front row at the Kendrick Lamar show. Like they probably paid $300 for this thing, and they just spent the whole time on their phone.
Mm-hmm.
And like every single person next to them is also on their phone. And it's just like, look, how about instead of you going to the show, you give me the ticket and then I'll just send you a link to the person next to me. Like if all you want to do is like watch it through your phone. I mean, he had worded it way more eloquently and not as weird. But the concept of that is still like, yeah, it's really, really strange.
Yeah. And I feel like that kind of stuff is kind of like at our point as like you're 30 something as well, right?
Yeah.
Like that's kind of like old man corner. It's just like, you kids, we used to pay money for shows. We'd go get in the mosh pit. Like, but yeah, you're right. Like I went to see Tim Heidecker just the other day, and I was like, I wanted to take some pictures and some videos and showing my friends. And like, honestly, in the middle of taking a picture, I'm like, the quality sucks. This isn't going to translate well when I show my friends. I'm going to have one of those weird moments where I'm like, hey, check out this video, this thing I did. And like, I stand there and they just have to like pretend like they're enjoying watching this shitty video on my phone. So like, no, just put it down and enjoy the show. Who the fuck cares if they like, what's someone going to do? Come to be like, no, you didn't go. Like, okay, well, sorry, I don't have proof I didn't go to that show. Like, sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's better to just enjoy it.
Yeah, totally. I think that I try not to, if I'm in the moment, if something cool's happening and I'm like, oh, I want to take a picture of this, I'll take the picture.
Yeah.
And if it isn't a great picture, I'm like, well, it just whatever.
Yeah. It's like
move on.
It's like trying to take a picture of a full moon. You're never going to get it. It's just always going to look like shit.
Sure. Unless you have like one of those
phone.
like super nice cameras or something.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Did you ever think that we would get to a point like where just like everybody would just have the access to this insane amount of technology and just resources and still find ways to do absolutely like nothing super productive with it? Maybe that's me being a little judgmental.
No, I'm with you. Like I'm real big into the concept of the singularity and like technology moving the way it does. And lately I've been getting real pissed off that people make so many mistakes. Like, I don't know if this is where you were going with that thought at all, but like, yeah, you're right. Like that little rectangle over there holds all of the world's mysteries and you could figure it out. And like, even if you don't know something as simple as how to spell a word, like bam, you got it right there.
And you still see like typos.
Yeah,
or
it pisses
like,
me off so much to see anybody like even create like, I won't say crazy conspiracies, but just like anything that's kind of silly, like it just takes a quick couple Googles to like either deflate or inflate or like leave yourself a little bit confused. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's an amazing resource and I don't think people use it well enough.
Yeah, it's like it's not that much effort to like get behind this, like to actually maybe read an article, not just the headline.
Yeah.
Or like I always get really irritated. This is like the fucking old man complain hour.
My back hurts.
Yeah, when like somebody will ask like a really stupid question on Facebook, that's like just look it up on Google or fucking Bing or whatever search engine. Like, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
And
it's like that personal touch, though. You know, if you just have a friend that does it for you, it makes it warmer and nicer.
Well, I think a lot of people like there's so many statuses that like you know the movie They Live with like the glasses. I feel like if there was like all these different statuses on Facebook, and if you had some sort of glasses that would just like translate what they really mean, it would just be like, I'm lonely.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm lonely.
Yep. That is true.
You get the whole like fucking people that are like, I'm taking a break from Facebook, so I need to make a post about it. It's like
this isn't an airport. You don't need to announce your departure.
That's really funny.
I stole it. It's not mine.
Okay. Well, hey, whoever said that was funny.
You're welcome. Yep.
God bless. They it's just like I don't know. I mean, I'm a human being too, and I'm sure you are a human.
Sure.
Right?
No.
Yeah. I'm pretty positive. And I have been in situations where it's like, you know what? I just don't really want to be on Facebook today. And maybe that lasts for like 4 or 5 days.
Yep.
And it's fine.
Yeah.
You know, if I don't want to be on it, it's kind of counterproductive to post a status that people are going to interact with and keep you coming back to it. But it's just, I'm lonely. I want attention.
Yeah, for sure. The past has been just coming back to kick my ass lately because like I got off of Facebook probably like 3 years ago. And like looking back at it, I was pretty prolific with my bullshit. And man, like seeing some of my posts from like 2015, 2016 and stuff like that, it's just like, what the fuck? Who the fuck was I talking to? Like, no wonder it didn't get any comments or likes. It's not commentable or likable. Like, this is just bullshit. And so like now it's just, I'm so happy I've taken so much of a break from it because when I go back on it, it just seems like, and I mean, no offense to any of my wonderful friends that still use it all the time, but it's just a bunch of 30-somethings complain about shit that they don't have any like say in. And it's not worth it. But I do like to get on there and like just say something stupid on someone's comment every once in a while. I had a friend that posted a picture of herself without makeup. I posted a picture of myself in the comments without makeup too. Yeah. There's like little things like that, you know. Hopefully it's something where it'd be like, oh wow, Nate showed up today and then now he's gone again. But
yeah, I think that there's, you know, with social media, it's very much you create your own hell or your own like positive space. You know, you ultimately choose who you're friends with on there. Yeah. You know, it's so if it's all stuff that you don't like on there, well, that's your fault.
Yep, and you're gonna be mad all day.
You can do something about that if you would like to.
Oh yeah. I filled mine up with like, it was kind of nice when I got back to it because it was just filled with like dogs and cats and things like that. So that was kind of nice. I feel like I went through a phase of like fuck everybody and just deleted everyone before. I'm like, wait, no, it's not their fault. It's Facebook's fault. Like it's making me angry. Like I'm just gonna get out of there.
Now with music stuff, you've never really struck me as the person to be like the band daddy in any projects that you're in. Like you're in the band, just playing, doing your thing, but like maybe not so much like the, you know, like the
handling shit,
handling, or maybe like, you know, like we got to get these fucking posts done, or we need to take band photos or anything. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you are that guy. Like, what?
I mean, I'm more when it comes.
Do you just like to be a player, kind of in the pocket, or?
I like to help things move. I like to help things function. Like I don't want to be a stumbling block in the process of things. Sure. I don't know. I mean, I'd hope that if the Northern Gold dudes hear this, they aren't like, "Fuck you, Nate. You don't do shit." But like, I don't know. I do like the work and the effort that comes into the process of like trying to do the things that a band does. So I don't know. I would never call myself the band dad, but like, well, another thing that like I think the emo band has taught me, like we are like, I wouldn't say detrimentally professional when we handle things, but like we definitely, I'd say that we pride ourselves in the way we handle ourselves getting to venues and handling like the staff and everything there. But I know at first when we started doing that, like it wasn't my favorite thing to like go into the venue first, find the sound guy, find the stage manager, figure everything out. But like now it does feel like more of a like, okay, this is how you do it. This is how you get the show started, you know, to handle it. And I think we did like a comparable thing. Northern Gold played the Deutschtown Festival recently. And we got to the place and Jake was like, you know, hey, like, what do we do? Where are we going? I'm like, okay, let me handle it. And it's like walked over, met the sound guy, figured out when we were going on. Like, I can do that stuff when there's a purpose, but I don't think I'd ever be the type that's like, we got to do this stuff now or else we're going to fucking suck. You know, you guys are all losers.
like with being a modern band and like the pressures that social media places on anybody
I'm just
trying to put their art into the world, you know. I guess that goes back into our earlier conversation of like, well, we need to have music videos or just we need to have content in general, like generating like stuff that a band really has no reason to do. Like any band that has a TikTok account, it's like it just seems like such a distraction.
Yeah, here's my like, 2 favorite candy bars.
Yeah, like that kind of shit. It's like it bothers me.
Yeah,
that like people need to do that. Or people feel like they have to do that.
Yeah, and that hurts me. Like, I know, like, I don't know if this is like a mental illness talk, but there are times definitely when I'm like, I don't want to say anything funny. Like, I don't want to like make a TikTok and like comment on anything. Like, fuck that. But then there's also times where I'm like, man, if I had a TikTok, I'd be cranking stuff out. Like, that's a pretty funny concept. I could do something like that. And like you can't. I couldn't keep that up.
That's the thing too. It's like it's different. I think that like, you know, TikTok as a platform is totally fine and I think there's a way to create content for that platform that makes sense. And I'm sure it's fun and engaging and real easy to get lost in this rabbit hole of like these fun, dumb videos, whether it's like, dancing or like
lip syncing
or like skateboard tricks or something fun, like that kind of stuff is cool.
Yeah.
Like whatever. But like, I don't know. I think that like if you are a band, it just doesn't seem like, I don't know. It just seems so disingenuous. Like I remember I saw like there was like a Fall Out Boy TikTok thing with like Pete Wentz talking at the camera, and I was like, this just seems like nobody wants this.
Yeah,
it's so, I don't know.
Yeah, that's such a hard thing. I'm always
like thinking like behind the scenes, like whenever I like, if I'm like in like a shopping mall, like that, since those exist, that we're really dating myself at this point. But like like at Target or something, and like you see like the photos of people like that are in like the fashion stuff or in like the clothes section. It's like how many like dumb photos did they have to fucking take behind the scenes to get the one of that person on the trampoline like doing their fucking jumping thing, and then like how many fucking like, this is the best video that you were able to post, Pete. Like how many shitty takes were there of this? It's just miserable to me.
Yeah, that's why I love like thinking about people doing videos and stuff like that, because like it's never going to be good the first time. Like you're going to have to do extra takes. And one thing I've also told people too that I think is kind of funny, like whatever you see, like I think there was a while ago, there's this video that went around of like this Irish family, like, and the whole setup of the video looked like, they had finished a wedding or something. They're all exhausted and drunk from dancing. And then they all start singing, and it's just beautiful and all these different parts and stuff. But it sounds too perfect because it's also well mixed and well lit and everything. And like, that was not a wedding. This was a staged shoot with a pre-recorded track, like all this other stuff. Like, but no, they love each other, that family. I'm like, they're probably not even a family. There's probably a bunch of people that auditioned to be in some Irish singing group that wanted to make a cool video. Like after, like, so it's all fake. Like if it's good, it's fake. Like that's what I think.
Sure. That's definitely become an issue for me with a lot of modern music in terms of how easy it is to produce something that's like very like top quality.
Yeah.
And just like, is this believable? Like, is this actually happening?
Especially like in like
the realm of like, like with like heavy metal. It's just like, there's so much stuff now. I'm like, oh, this sounds crazy, but also like I'm listening to an electronic album. This is like, that's what it is. It's, all fucking MIDI quantized, punched in, insane, which is cool. I mean, make music how you want to make music. It's a fun sonic experience sometimes to hear something.
Make you smile.
Yeah, but like you see it in a live environment and like you're like, oh fuck.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
It's weird. I don't know. It's just,
I remember the first time
I just feel like an old.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I remember when I found out that like drums on like a lot of well-produced albums, like it's like the drummer records it, but then they just take all those hits and add their own different sounds to it. Like, well, what happened? Like, oh, it's all just put into place. Like that guy, why'd he even show up? You could have just made a computer do that. Like, damn, that's crazy. But it just shows my lack of experience.
I think that it's interesting because it's just like on that scale, it's like, why are we doing this? It's like, because it sounds better to who?
Yeah, exactly.
There's plenty of records without fucking sound replaced drums that sound fantastic. Like we can name tons of them. Yeah. From anything from the fucking 60s through the 90s. Countless great records.
Yeah.
Alice in Chains didn't have no fucking sound replaced drums, as far as I know, on fucking Dirt.
Yeah,
I heard it's a great sounding record.
Exactly. There was this funny point I heard from like an old producer that was talking about like the difference now, like if he preferred things back in the day to now, and he was like, honestly, you want me to say back in the day, but like now things are better only for the fact that you can like, you don't have to pay a shitload of money for a studio time and then a shitload of money for some guy you don't know to handle everything and all this other stuff. Like you can do it all in your house. Like, so yeah, I mean, you might say the products might be not as good, like, but yeah, things are easier nowadays. Like it was hard back in the day. Like,
sure. But I think
expensive.
I think that threshold created more, it was less bullshit.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like now most people get their music on Spotify, and how much of Spotify's catalog is just glorified demos. Like the CDRs that someone would hand you in the food court at the mall when those were a thing that you would just never listen to.
Yeah.
That's like all like, there's no like, there used to be a thing like, like, oh, like my band actually got a CD in the CD store at the mall, shrink wrapped. Like that's insane. So, like that was there was a threshold of like, now we're a real band.
Yeah.
But now anybody can be a real band, which as a, an inclusive person, I'm like, great.
Mm-hmm.
It's great that everybody can share their art with the world.
Mm-hmm.
But also, how do you get people to take you seriously? It makes it so much harder now.
Mm-hmm.
Like as an underground band, like what is the threshold for your peers to be like, oh, they're actually doing something?
Yeah.
What is it? Getting a fucking city paper award? Eat shit.
Yeah.
And like
it's such a funny thing to like talk to people about that stuff too, because like no offense to any of that, like it's great. I was one of the City Paper's 2016 best sketch comedy group, things like that. But like when you get like behind the curtain on that stuff, like you do realize like it is a hustle and it is a job and people are working to like get themselves out there. But also you do know that like in a small place like Pittsburgh, like you can, make it work in your favor. You can do the things you need to do to make sure people vote for you and then get into the thing. Like if you know the right people, you can get into whatever you need to. And like, it's not like it cheapens it by any means, but I don't know. It does. It's not like something I want to strive for anymore.
Yeah.
Like,
it's like, I hate like you see people, it's like they post more about vote for me in this contest than they do about their actual music.
Yeah.
And that bothers me.
Yeah. And I know from experience, I mean, back in the day, like the late 2000s on all those like online competitions about the bands and things like that, like it was all fraudulent. Like we weren't getting as many likes and things like, and that's like what we come from for that kind of stuff. I'm like, yeah, like I'm gonna get like my family members that aren't even from here to like this, comment on this, like whatever. Like, but yeah, to what end? Like, great, I got to go to a cool party and eat some really cool food from everything, which is awesome and a lot of fun. But like, man, I probably could have sat home.
Yeah, it's like really silly when like, because like when you fabricate it, it's like it's not really real.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is to take a phrase that you've said a lot today, not to toot my own horn.
Yeah, thank you.
But we just Greywalker got an email that we're in like the top 10 now for like the best metal thing. We haven't made one post about the City Paper in years.
That's nice.
So it's nice that people are just voting for us because they want to.
Yeah.
Like that feels good.
I think I voted for you guys.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's kind.
Yeah.
And that's good to know. Just like that. Like, okay, some people like genuinely care. It's not like us getting our fucking aunts and uncles to like, use all their different fucking email accounts to vote every other day or whatever fucking Ponzi scheme you want to fucking get going to fucking, say that we're the best metal band in Pittsburgh. Okay, great.
One thing I like, not that people come to me for advice or young kids are like, what do I do to make it in music, Nate? But one thing that I do like to say to people, whenever like somebody's coming to me with something new or like they're working on a project or whatever, like I always tell them if your parents or like your immediate friend group or whatever, if they tell you that it's really, really good, throw that out. Like you do not want their input because they're obligated to love you and they already have some basis for like, hey, I like what you do. So like if you can get people that you don't know to start coming up and be like, that's fucking great, then you're doing a good job. Like other than that, like it's not to say that your parents suck or your brother and sister suck or anything and they have bad taste, which they probably do. But like, I don't know, like throw out any compliment from someone close, get rid of it. And then try and make somebody you don't know be like, yo, come play a show for me again.
Sure. And like, yeah, it's just that fucking City Paper distraction stuff. And then, yeah, just like outside of that, like going back to like the fucking, like the whole idea of like streaming your music and all of this stuff. It's just like, it's so easy to make yourself seem professional. And I feel like now it's just a constant rat race. Like, oh, well, this other band put out a music video, so we should put out a music video, or they did this, so we should do this. And, the conversation's looping, but it's just like, why?
Yeah.
Why?
I think that what I'd like to at least accomplish as far as like Northern Gold at least, and they don't know this, they're going to have to listen to the podcast to find this out. But no, like I think it'd be fun more so to like attack it from the standpoint of projects. Like, what do we want to accomplish? Okay, how do we accomplish that project? Like, what do we want to do? Like 5 songs? We want to make little videos with them. Like, okay, so let's try and get that package, that product together and do that. Like, don't just loosely be like, okay, we're going to do this, then something's going to happen. Like, do it more so from the point of view of like, we're a couple of guys that like to play music together. We got a good, like, we've got taste in things that we listen to. Like, why don't we make something cool just for the sake of making something cool? And like, yeah, we have outlets to like blast it out so people can hear it. But in general, like, I'd like to just make something you're proud of. Like, okay, I made a cool product, and leave it there, you know?
Yeah. I think that gets into a conversation of, just music being a conversation between the performer and the listener. And if you're not like contributing something unique or worthwhile to the conversation, why would anybody want to engage with it?
Yeah.
And I think what is engaging is when people create just genuine art. It doesn't need to be unique or life-changing. You know what I mean? It's a fucking cheeseburger.
Yeah. You've
had plenty in your life. You'll have plenty more. But, sometimes like a good fucking burger is all you want.
I told you I'm watching my weight, dude. You can't be talking burgers.
And so I don't know. I think it's real easy to just get distracted and trying to be so unique or so different while simultaneously worrying about what everybody else is doing. And I don't know. I like the idea of just like making it small, doing something that you genuinely want to do with people that you enjoy being around, and just hope for the best.
That's life, baby.
Just chill.
No more competition. Who cares anymore? It's all just be buds.
Yeah. The competition thing, I don't know. It doesn't. I'm sure it still exists in some facets of music pockets in Pittsburgh and around the globe, but I don't really get too much of that anymore.
It doesn't. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't know if it's the age thing or not, but like it's more. Anytime I go play shows now, it's more like, yeah, I'm just happy to see some friends tonight. Like, this is pretty cool. And I remember when I was younger, seeing that like in bands. I'm like, how do you get to like know that band and be their friend and play shows with them? Like, well, it's probably because they had a barbecue the other day. Like they're probably they're probably actually pals. They probably work together. Like, okay, so it's not all like business. People were friends.
Yeah, I think that for the most part, it's I like go out of my way to try to be nice to people. It shows. Well, it's not really even going out of my way. I'm like genuinely like a pretty agreeable human being.
Yeah, I think so.
Not really like a complicated person, but especially like in the metal scene, I would say there's no competition, but there are definitely people that are very like complicated. And I think that it's a lot of, weird insecurity type stuff. Yeah. And you kind of got to just like poke them, just like, you're going to be my friend.
Yeah, exactly.
I know that you're probably
Stop being a cunt.
You're not a fucking, you're probably not a cunt. You're just, for whatever reason, just shut off from the world. And a lot of times, like, those people do open up and like you figure out their quirks and things like that. But also, there are definitely some people that are just fucking jerks.
Yeah, they just suck.
They do just suck. Yeah.
It's funny you say that, because one thing I've been kind of like looking back on lately as a 36-year-old man, like, that's been playing, like, I think I played punk shows like 15, 16 or whatever in like fire halls. But I remember like in my late teens, early 20s, like I had friends that I thought were like amazing musicians playing like lots of good stuff. And then like they would reach some point where they're like, gotta quit music, that's what, and like I remember feeling like that's so dramatic and so big, like, oh man, I can't believe it. But looking back at like 36, like that person was 20 years old. Like they probably just, were getting out of college and found a job, and like no one was ever going to be huge and famous. Like we should have just been happy playing shows. Like it wasn't like a big deal. Like that whole like quitting music concept of like in your early 20s is just such a silly thing to me now, because it's like, you didn't have to. Like I have so many friends that have like kids now and like full-time jobs making a whole lot more money than I ever make, that still play, that still tour, that still do lots of stuff. Like you never had to quit, you just didn't want to.
that was that's the thing. It's just like, really, if you genuinely give a shit about something, you'll make it happen. It's no different. The mentality of like deciding to continue playing music in your 30s or to make time for band practice is no different than like, I'm going to sit down and watch all of Stranger Things in a day because I give a fuck about this show. I can make this time for it. But a lot of people, it's like, I'd rather just sit down and veg out, or I'd rather be with my family, or I don't feel like dealing with the bullshit of being in a band, or I just don't care that much.
Yeah, and there is some bullshit with being in band.
Totally. I mean, there's bullshit that comes with fucking anything, but especially like the it's not very I don't know. I think that for some people that play music, maybe they can play, but knowing how to like create or write a song, like you get a different fulfillment out of that So if you're just somebody that is maybe not necessarily writing songs, or you don't care about that, and you're just kind of doing this instrument, you're just playing things that other people write. I don't know. You have like a different relationship with it, I guess, maybe in a way. It'd be like, oh, like back to burgers. Like I work at a restaurant and like I make burgers, but I don't really care about cooking food. This is just like a thing that I do here, I guess. You know what I'm saying?
I think.
You're like, like I think there's a lot of people in bands that are basically like line cooks in the band, you know, and they're just there to kind of.
That's the thing they do.
It's just the thing that they do. They just kind of show up and leave. And yeah, maybe there was a more eloquent way to put that.
It's all on burgers.
Yeah, there's just, I think that, I don't know. I mean, I'm just thinking about certain people in my life that like I've been in bands with that don't play anymore. And it's like at the time, it seemed like everybody cared.
Yeah.
But in retrospect, when I think about the way that they acted in the band, I'm like, they never fucking gave a fuck about this. It was just like
they're just showing up.
It's like they want to say they're in a band. They want to be in the band pictures.
Yeah.
They want to be on stage, but they don't care about actually contributing anything to the songwriting process or any of the creative endeavors of things.
Yeah.
It's just like a job, but not even a paying job. It's like they're getting paid in like social credit.
Exactly. Yeah. They get that clout.
Yeah.
No, the one thing I think is funny about that whole concept, at least, is like that personality, even though like I would say they suck, some of those people are almost necessary. Like I feel like in bands, like one thing I've gotten to as far as like band interactions with each other is like, I'll start with like gear, getting into a show. Like you should never be upset with somebody because they don't carry their gear into their show. Like you should be upset because they didn't help carry the band's gear in the show. Like the job is to get everybody's shit into the show. Like if you aren't doing that, then you don't give a fuck about the band. And I think when it comes to a band, like there are people like that band Daddy you mentioned, where like they kind of lead things and all that. But like with the other members, like even if you don't give a fuck and you don't like, and you just want to look cool, like if you've got the ability to show up on stage and play your part and you can carry your gear and you can have a good attitude, like I like that person better than somebody who wants to like make a difference, you know?
Sure. I mean, like, yeah, there's definitely like, I've been in bands with people where it's just like okay, maybe I'm not, like, I don't want to contribute anything really, but I will show up on time. I will know how to play the songs and I'm easy to get along with.
You won't even notice me.
I just want to vibe.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are, I mean, but again, like those are people that you'll see continue to play and just fill those roles in bands that need like a bass player or something. You'll see them in a dozen bands for the next fucking 10 years. Yeah. Because they genuinely love playing. Like any of those other types of people that I was talking about, like the clout people, they're done by the time that they like, well, they like, they get like too old or out of shape to look good in photos anymore. So they just stop caring about even being in the band because like, it's no longer a beautiful thing, you know, that they've lost their hair or they put on some weight or whatever, you know, just, or both, you know, and it's like, okay, well, I don't want to do this anymore.
I like that you mentioned talking about like the people that want to play will keep playing. And I remember there's one thing that I always think about back in the day. Like whenever I first moved to Pittsburgh, there was some interview with like Paul Menetiadis, I think I'm pronouncing his last name correctly, from Pittsburgh. He played in Punchline, Composure and stuff like that. But there's this like van interview that he did with, I think, Quantide. You remember them?
Nah.
They did video stuff. But I remember he like talked about this concept of like when you get older in the music scene, like you need to look out for lifers. Like those are the people you need to surround yourself with when it comes to music. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. Like I feel like I finally made it. Like I'm a lifer now, you know, like I've got my ways that I make money and other things. But like if you need me to play a show, like tell me what songs you need to know and like I'll go out and do it. Like I'm here to play. Like that's it. You know, I don't care what I'm playing. Like I'm going to play something and that's it.
It's been like really cool now over the past, I would say 5 to 10 years, leading more towards like the past 5, in the music, in the bands that I do, in the people that I'm like surrounded with creatively, because they're all very like-minded people that like I would trust all of them with my like life outside of like even anything just like creatively. Like they're all really good dudes and dudettes. And it's cool because like I didn't have that in my 20s. I wish I would have, but also things happen the way that they're, I don't know, fate,
they're
the
meant
universe.
to, you know?
Yeah, things happen the way they're meant to. You were supposed to be a drunken fucking ding dong for all of your 20s.
That's right.
You're supposed to put yourself horribly in debt and live in squalor.
That's right. You're supposed to spend all that money that your kind relatives happen to give you from savings they had saved up when you were a kid, you know?
Totally.
Like that was meant for weed and beer. Yeah.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Woo!
But yeah, no, it's cool because like environment is everything, and you surround yourself with people that just like are on your wavelength, and it just like makes everything so much fucking easier in the long run.
Yeah.
Because it could be really hard, even if there's just like one person that like, you know, one moldy spot on the loaf, gotta throw the whole thing out.
That's right. It'll kill you. I just learned that this morning. I've been watching historical cooking things.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, it was great. I learned about the difference between sliced bread and like bakery bread. It's, you know, all what you'd think. It's all about preservatives and all that stuff. I won't get into it. But they did say if you eat mold, you could die.
Yeah.
Did you hear about that guy that injected some type of mold into him? Wait, no, he injected mushrooms into him, like psychedelic mushrooms. It basically fucked him up real bad.
Oh my God,
like,
I hate people.
Yeah, and also because like your blood is warm and nice and dark on the inside there, the shrooms ended up like sprouting up. And he basically like turned himself into a mushroom. Bad. He almost died.
I fucking hate people.
Yeah. You
It's
could
like-
just eat it, you know?
Yeah. It's, I don't know. We can like, when I think about like, I guess it's hard. Like I've never been a big drug person at all. But like I understand the appeal of it because it's really no different than like pizza or anything.
Pizza's
It's all
great, too.
recreational and fun, and you have an experience. I've had, you know, out of body experiences with the right slice for sure.
Hell yeah.
And but like when there's a threshold for like how like fucked in the head or like just genuinely bored do you have to be to like get to a point where it's like, oh, I think that like everything that I'm doing hasn't been enough. I need more. Let's inject the mushrooms.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, you can get gross and like talk about some weird sex things that some people like to do.
Just shoving mushrooms straight up their ass.
Yeah, it's like, how do you get to that point where this is what you want to do?
I don't want to know that path. I was about to say, like, I'd like to know that path, but I don't want to know that path. I don't want to know, like, the moment they found some video on the internet that kind of, like, tickled something in them. No, I don't want to know any of that.
It's just, it's super duper interesting. And then in terms of, like, just, like, the creative mindset of things, like, thinking about it artistically, right? Like, how do you apply that idea of like, this isn't enough, I need more? How do I do that with my art in a productive way instead of like, oh, well, you know, there aren't enough toppings on this metaphorical pizza, right? Or there isn't enough fucking chemicals going through my body fast enough, so I need to throw it in my veins.
Yeah.
It's just like, I'm not giving enough to this art. I need to like really go for it. Like, cause like there's like a something in your brain, again, not a brain doctor, but it has to be like some sort of like chemical or scientific thing that unlocks that like unhinged thing where it's like, oh no, I'm gonna shove that in there.
Like, let's go.
I'm gonna make it fit.
Like,
Like, how do you get that energy for like, no, I'm gonna fucking get this song written. I'm gonna figure out this part, or I'm gonna
shock therapy. You can just, you know, take a taser, stab it in the back of your skull, and just hope it triggers the right spot.
With outside of the music and outside of the baking, you had mentioned before, like, you know, the sketch comedy stuff, and you had been on the show in the past in regards to comedy stuff. Are you still funny?
Fuck no. I don't know. That's one of those like things where I don't know what kind of outlet there is for it. Like, I definitely feel like I'm a silly person for sure. Yeah, that's one of those things where I feel like I'm gonna have to get into TikToking, because I know what those people do on those videos. Like, I could piece something together and people tell me I'm silly enough. Like, I hate when people are like, "Oh, that's a pretty funny thought, Nate. You should make that into a video." I'm like, well, why can't you just accept that you're with a funny friend, and then, you know, you don't need me to give it to everybody. Take the gift I gave you.
Yeah. And you know, something that I definitely think about a lot as somebody that has this podcast that I've done for a very long time. I've never made a dime off of this podcast.
What?
And it's I mean, honestly, I don't even want to know how fucking much money I've spent just like hosting it and on equipment and shit. But that's not the point. It's really just like I want to get together with friends and hang out, have some waters or, beers or, inject mushrooms.
Yeah, exactly.
Like we do sometimes. And it's like, okay, well, like I don't need to record this to do that.
Yeah.
It's like kind of at the beginning of the conversation, like we don't have to play a show to hang out with our friends. So it's like, why? Like, I have to always think about like, why am I doing this? Why am I generating this content? Is this actually valuable for other people to engage with?
Yeah.
Hopefully there's some tidbits of information in here that people are like, oh, I never thought about that way. Or like, oh, I relate with that. You know,
I think
connection.
I feel like you scratch an itch with what you do with this, like as far as like a local, like I think a while back I considered like what you do with this podcast, like kind of like a scene historian kind of thing.
Sure.
Because it's like you're just capturing like different times and moments with people that are doing things, like whether it's a big level, small level, whatever, it's just like creative types around this city. It's like I think that's cool as far as like why people would listen to it. That's why I would listen to it. Not that I do, but I mean
yeah, just like thinking about like, you don't have to monetize every moment and like just like trying to make sure that like, well, it's like I know that at the end of the day I'm doing this for genuine reasons. So I think that I feel better putting it out because again, it's not like, oh, I'm just doing this hour-long podcast for the fucking 30-second ad read for Blue Chew. Yeah, that's gonna get me,
is that for dick stuff? Is that what Blue Chew's for?
Blue Chew's the dick stuff. Yeah,
nice.
I don't know how many like podcasts you listen to, but a lot of the podcasts that I listen to, especially like the ones that are like run by like comedians and stuff like that, it's just like unnecessary bullshit for an hour, and then there's the ad read, and it's like, pills, that's why this exists. It's for the ad read. That's it.
All right, speaking of ads, I'm sorry to go off on a tangent with this, but how audacious has it been with the way YouTube's been doing their ads lately? Have you noticed it's like the ads are like half-hour infomercials, and the only way you can get past it is if you push that skip ad thing. That's insane. What the fuck are they doing? Like, how can they get away with that? I feel like that's going to be one of those things that they like shut down at a government level. Like how they're like, commercials can't be like 2 times as loud as the TV shows, even though they're still doing that. And I'm kind of pissed that exists because it scares me. I'll be trying to take a nap or something and like, bam, blasts on there.
Yeah. So like I have YouTube Premium.
I need to do that too. I've been thinking about that. Like, it's like a girlfriend that like I need to have, but like I just won't listen to her because every time she's like, I'll give you 3 months free. I'm like, fuck you. I want Netflix.
Yeah, no. I mean, I pay the money for it, so I don't get bugged by the ads, and I can engage with stuff the way I want to. And I've said this 1,000 times before. I'll say it again. If every fucking social media platform had a paid version where I wouldn't have to fucking see ads and I could just engage with the stuff that I want to do, I would throw buckets of money at that.
That's great. I like that.
I really would.
And they could get away with a $5.99 a month. That's not bad. Okay.
Easily.
All right, you're onto something here.
Easily. They would. It's like it could. I mean, the issue is that they're probably just making so much fucking money off that targeted advertising more than we'll ever fucking realize.
Well, I like it when it's smooth. I like it when it's like an agreement with the content creator. Whenever they're like, "Oh, by the way, check this out." Like that's respectable.
Sure.
But I hate that stuff where it's like, hey, check out these coins I've got. And then it's like the next hour sitting there watching some dude talk about something you don't give a shit about.
Yeah. Or just like flipping through Instagram and like every 3 posts is like, oh, you like horror movies? Check out this fucking Friday the 13th shirt. 3 more posts. Oh, you like synthesizers? Check this out. Oh, 3 more posts. You like shoes? It's just like, I just kind of wanted to like zone out and just see what my shithead friends are into.
Speaking of that, like, I don't know if you've just been like inside my head the last couple of days or whatever, but one thing I've found out with Instagram, you know how they do that thing where it's like, hey, if you want to see, all of your friends' things, like you have to go up to the Instagram in the top corner and then do following. And so whenever I looked at that, there's a little check mark next to that little guy. So I'm like, oh, so it must already be set for the following stuff. Nah, dog. You got to go in there. Then it's going to give you all the most recent things from all your buddies. And it's pretty cool. But the thing that's fucked about that is if you're like, oh, I want to see what all my friends are doing, and I get like an hour into it, you have to back out, and then when you go back into it, it doesn't save your spot. So the only way you get like a real convenient, nice use of the Instagram app is if you're using the one that just feeds you suggested stuff. Like I've been worried I've been following accounts that I'm not even following. Like, no, my whole like main feed is shit that I'm not following at this point. So I don't know. That's my little old man corner there.
Yeah, no, it's like, it's weird. Like there's like always shit like like I get like suggested stuff from people that I'm not following that are like people that I know. And I think that I'm following them, but I'm not following them. It's just sending it to me. And then like I get weirdos that are just like, why don't you follow me on Instagram? And it's like, what are you talking about? I see your stuff all the time. And it's like, oh, I guess not.
Yeah. The algorithm knew better. Just feeding it to you.
I guess not. I've also had like people like call me out for unfollowing them. And it's like, how do you know? And I guess like you can like download apps that tell you when people
that's
unfollowed you
that's
and
a crazy
shit.
step. Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, why would you ever want to do that? It's like, why did I unfollow? Because this is the kind of person you are. This is why
you're a maniac.
Yeah, exactly. You are a fucking maniac.
It's funny you say all that because I'll be honest with you. Before I came here, I went on the internet to be like, oh, yeah, let me take a look at the Instagram for Start the Beat and everything. And I'm like, I'm not following this. Ah, fuck. This is going to be one of those weird moments where I'm like, I'm going to have to follow. He's going to see it. He's going to know I'm going to walk in there. It's going to be like, oh, shit. I'm like, ah. So, you're going to get a follow after this. That's all I'm saying. And you followed me too. That's the thing that was like made me sad about it. I'm like, well, what am I doing over here? Who the hell am I?
I don't take it the wrong way.
Okay, good.
I really don't. I don't. I don't have any of those fucking trackers to know who's following me, who's not following me. Whenever I post stories, I don't go in and like see who's looked at my story. Like I have friends that do that are just like, yeah, so-and-so always watches my stories. I'm like, how do you know that? And they're like, oh, well, you could just go in and look at who's, I'm like, how fucking neurotic are you that like I post something and then I forget about it. I'm like going back and like, oh, well, who looked at this? It's one thing to be like, oh, okay, like I'll see, because like you'll get notifications that people liked it, but that's not enough. I need to know every single person that looked at what I did.
Who tapped who, like, well, that's the thing. Like, I don't know how, like, what it needs to do to register that somebody looked at it, because there's so many times where I'm like, just like tap, 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 going through people's shit. So if there's anybody that like thinks highly of me, they're like, Nate's always looking at my stories. I just want to be like, no, I'm not. Like, I'm just getting through it to get to the next like goofy thing. Like, I'm sorry.
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah, I wonder what that is. Like, how long you have to actually look at something for it to register. Because a lot of those likes might even be like, I have friends that are like, this celebrity follows me. Like, do they really? Like, they're probably just trying to get to something they like,
Yeah, I fucking, and then going back to TikTok, which we can fucking probably wrap this up in a minute here. But I have a lot of friends that like TikTok because of like they get a lot of view counts and air quote engagement. It's like, yeah, your video has a lot of views because people are seeing it while scrolling through to other shit.
Yeah.
Like I have a friend that's really big on TikTok, and they were like, like 100,000 followers. And then like they tried to make like a YouTube account and like made a post about it on the TikTok, and it like barely 100 people.
Yeah.
It's
sobering.
Like, you can't like jump from like the platform to platform, and so much of that like engagement that you're seeing is just not, it's like not transferable.
Yeah.
It just exists in that bubble. So then like that goes back to like why I have a hard time with bands or people that like, they want to do a real world thing. A band is a real world thing for the most part. And okay, sure, you can exist in this bubble in TikTok, but nobody's going to care about what you're doing outside of TikTok. And if the point of making the TikTok is to get people to engage with your content outside of TikTok, it's kind of useless.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but also, I am not a social media marketing manager. And, I don't know. If your content is good enough, it'll speak for itself.
It'll shine.
I'm pretty sure that.
I feel that same
I even
way.
hate the fact that now I'm just calling things content.
Yeah. It sucks.
That word just genuinely came out of my mouth, and I'm like, bleh.
Yeah. That's every day for me.
But yeah, so we're older now. We're officially 1 hour in 10 minutes or so older than we were when we started this.
Yeah.
We've solved all the world problems.
I know we did. That's what I wanted to come here for.
We're both going to be very successful now.
We're gonna win the Mega Millions. It's over $1 billion.
We're gonna get we'll be first place in City Paper.
Yes, just best guys. That's what it's gonna be.
Let's see, what else can I talk shit on that's Pittsburgh related, since it's the end of the podcast?
Yeah. Beep out anything that I talk shit on, by the way. Just beep it.
How was Deutschtown for you guys?
Let me just say it was the best. Oh no, there's cameras here. Never mind. It was a great time. Super organized, and wonderful show. Oh, dang
dude,
it.
like, I mean,
it was a little bit stressful. I'll say that much. That's what I'll say to stay professional.
Was it? So I guess, like, I don't want to I've been like, this is my thing. And like, again, I hope that like people that are responsible for this festival do hear this.
Okay.
Nobody behind the scenes, and this is not even behind the scenes because I'm saying this publicly, nobody that I fucking talk to about your festival has a good time at it. You're not even on camera right now, so don't worry about it. Nobody has a good time at your festival. Like, leading up to the festival, all I hear is nightmare stories about years in the past. And then, like, I mean, granted, this year, unfortunate with the weather, some shit's out of your control. That I'm not fucking blaming anybody for that. But it's like, are you aware that like there is so much like distaste? And what can we do to make it better? Because it should be great.
I have some fun things to tell you when we're done. But,
it's just, whatever, man. And again, if you work for the festival and you want to talk about it, 412-680-2037, call me. That's a thing. It's just like, I don't know. Like, I would never want to fucking book a festival like that. I can't imagine how fucking stressful it is. But also, you don't need to have fucking 500 bands on 2,000 stages.
Like that whole, I saw it being billed as like the largest music festival in the world or something. Like,
stop it. It's a fucking train wreck. That festival could be a quarter of the size. It would be so much less stress on the people behind the scenes, and it would be less stress on people attending. People would actually be able to engage with everything, and it would be like a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, you're right.
In my opinion.
And those aren't my opinions completely. I mean, my opinions were not stated. That's for the record.
Yeah, and My Chemical Romance is Nate's
the best band in the world.
Well, with all of that being said, I love talking shit at the end of episodes because nobody ever really hears it. So
good. Yeah, no, I like shit talk too.
Yeah,
I won't lie about it.
Well, anyways, with all that being said, Nate, we're gonna chat some more once I stop recording here. But this is it for our public demonstration.
Yes,
we have solved the world's problems. You're welcome.
Yes. Can I tell people about my upcoming shows before we're done?
Yeah, okay. I was gonna.
You're gonna set that up. I forget I said anything. Afraid I got scared.
I don't even know when this is going to be uploaded, to be fair. But
don't worry, I got some advance.
Yeah, all right,
tried.
Let's go.
All right, so I was supposed to say that I do play in a band called Northern Gold. I play drums for them.
We talked about that.
Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to be cool with this. I'd say the most recent thing with them, sometimes the single we put out within the last like 6 months. It's good. People seem to like it. There's some follows on it, so check that out on Spotify. Kids are really into it. It's a nice dance craze. And then other than that, though, I do play in that karaoke band. We got some shows coming up. We're playing Cambridge, Massachusetts, August 12th. Underground Arts in Philly, August 13th. Jeffersonville, Indiana on August 19th at a place called Losers. It's a pretty cool venue. It's like a biker bar kind of thing. It was nice. And then Marathon Music in Nashville on August 20th. And then we're going to be Pittsburgh. August is our Pittsburgh month. So we're going to be at Spirit Lawrenceville on the 26th of August. So if you're in any of those places and you listen to this, come out and see me and say, hey, man, I liked your voice.
Hell yeah. Love it. Well, the fucking deal here. I'll be back next week with another episode unless someone from fucking DMF comes and breaks my legs. But until then, take care of yourselves, take care of the people around you, and don't overextend yourself. Don't try too hard. Nobody cares.
Just do
Deutschtown. Sorry. Fuck them, whatever. Goodbye. Have a good night. We're done.
Bye.